First, welcome to The Real Story. The media has worked itself up with the news that as many of 6 of the 8 suspects under arrest in the UK terror investigation are doctors. How could that be? I mean, I thought all terrorists were just poor, uneducated villagers who were angry at the man for keeping them down. No, actually, media, the real story is, you just haven't been paying attention. Nothing has changed about the profile of Islamic extremists except America's understanding of it. Think about it. The mastermind of 9/11, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, he earned a mechanical engineering degree from a U.S. university. Osama bin Laden, the best education possible in Saudi Arabia. He has a degree in civil engineering. Al-Zawahiri, Al-Qaeda's number 2, described as a brilliant doctor. And even the 9/11 pilots were Western educated. If you want to look at the different groups, in fact, let's look at Hezbollah, it's even more conclusive. A study found that Hezbollah militants were more educated and have a lower poverty rate than the general population. Just a few years ago, President Bush, who I really think understands what we're facing better than most leaders, gave a speech where he said, quote, "We have to fight against poverty because hope is an answer to terror." Man, I don't think I agree with that. I mean, I wish that were true, but it shows how misguided even our president is on the root causes of terrorism. After 9/11, the myth that terrorists are all repressed, poverty-stricken young men that was being perpetrated on us was a lie. It was a lie then, and it's a lie now. Poverty does not create terrorists. It is the other way around. Terror and violence cause poverty, which then allows these so-called leaders to repress and exploit their people. The common denominator among terrorists is not their education or their career or their age or their sex or their language that they speak. It is their fascism. It is their perversion and politicizing of Islam. It is their singular focus on destroying everything we stand for. Dr. Jasser, he is from the American Islamic Forum on Democracy. Zuhdi, I mean, blood must have shot out of your eyes when you heard people saying, what, they're all doctors? I mean, this is not surprising news.
By the way, happy 4th, and on this Independence Day, I keep thinking to myself, as a physician, these are fascists. The Nazis employed doctors. As you said, Zawahiri's a physician. You take Kevorkian and you cross him with Osama bin Laden, and you get Zawahiri. And the bottom line is that at some point, it's our day of independence tomorrow. Our forefathers were escaping religious persecution, and the anti-Islamists around the Muslim world, we need to start helping them because they're fighting theocracy, they're fighting autocracy. Remember, the Wahhabis in Saudi and the House of Saud send their children to be educated in the Ivy League. They come back still to be autocrats and despots and exert autocratic society. So this is about fascism. It's about control. And when are we going to get it?
Yeah,
it's about political Islam.
I read something that you wrote just recently, comparing it to Groundhog Day, that America is like that Bill Murray movie. Will you explain that?
Yeah, Phil Connor finally got out of that cycle of routine by finally coming to the moral courage to stand up to what he believed in his life, and he broke out of that cycle. And every month we see the bombings in London and Spain and Bali before that, and it's almost like we're like a physician treating the symptoms but not looking at the disease. And the disease is the Islamic State, the dream that the theocrats and the Islamists have to get the West out of their society and impose their will upon their own people. So at some point, I hope the administration can start to listen to its own verbiage, that they want the Iranians and the Saudis to live to their own potential and independence, free of oppression.
I find it very interesting because the people who are leading this movement, and they say that it's a duty to Allah. You never hear about their children blowing themselves up. For instance, Osama bin Laden has anywhere from 12 to 24 kids. He's got an even 24 kids. Has any of them ever died in a suicide attack? Have any of them ever been sent off to militant training that you know of?
Not that I know of, and that shows you the deep hypocrisy of their movement. People say it's about poverty. You know what? The people in those societies are simply the tools, the soldiers. The imams and the radicals are actually autocrats like the Nazis who are trying to use their people to maintain control. And if we see, for example, what's happening economically in Iran, in many ways I see the poor that are impoverished as the answer, in that when they finally understand that they're going to only get freedom through free markets and capitalism and opening up of the economy, that's actually going to be what frees them from the control of the autocrats.
Zuhdi, thank you very much, and happy Independence Day to you as well. Next, the tragic story of Chris Benoit. He is a